See your strategy before you execute it. Most companies don't. They spend months and millions on strategic plans and patent portfolios that live as static slides and dense documents. Cognito exists to change that. We turn static decks and dense patents into living, interactive simulations. You adjust the levers. You watch the outcomes change in real time. You see what you're actually betting on before you commit the money, the people, and the brand. Simulate strategy. Visualize patents. Understand your bet. Your company just spent 6 months and $500,000 on a strategic plan. It's 50 pages of slides, charts, bullet points, assumptions buried in footnotes. The board nods. But does anyone actually see what happens if the market grows at 3% instead of 7%? A competitor moves first? R&D takes 18 months instead of 12? In most organizations, the answer is no. Executives approve plans without seeing how sensitive the outcomes are to market growth, pricing, or timing. Two core problems show up again and again. Problem 1, dense decks. You have 50 pages of slides that almost nobody fully reads. Critical assumptions are buried in footnotes, backup slides, and spreadsheet tabs nobody opens. There's no single place where you can see how all the moving parts fit together. Problem 2, fragile assumptions. On paper, the plan looks certain. In reality, it's fragile. A growth rate that slips from 7% to 3%, a pricing premium that doesn't hold, an R&D delay of 6 months. Plans that look solid on a slide can break completely when market conditions shift slightly. And there's no safe way to stress test the strategy in advance. Cognito is built to fix that. Instead of static decks and hidden spreadsheets, Cognito gives you interactive models you can touch. You upload your existing materials, strategy decks, PowerPoint, PDF, financial models, market analyses, patent filings, and claims. Cognito's engine extracts the key levers, maps how they interact, and builds a live visual model. On the strategy side, you see sliders for things like market growth, pricing strategy, R&D timelines. On the patent side, you see components, flows, and logic. Not just in text, but as animated systems. You don't just read the plan, you play with it. You don't just believe the assumptions, you test them. Imagine a live Cognito model on screen. Strategy simulation V1. Live model market growth. 3%. What if market growth is 3% instead of 7%? Pricing strategy. Plus 110%. What if we price 10% higher than competitors? R&D timeline, 18 months. What if R&D takes 18 months instead of 12? Projected outcome, 79.5 hours run scenario. Strategies aren't the only things that suffer from being trapped in static documents. Patents do too. Patent filings are packed with technical language and dense claims, full of diagrams nobody outside the lab really understands. Crucial in litigation and licensing, but opaque to judges, juries, and business teams. That's where Cognito's patent visualization comes in. You upload the patent text, the claims, the diagrams, and figures. Cognito maps the component relationships, identifies the core novelty, and animates how the invention actually works. You might see a flow diagram showing inputs, processing, and outputs, a 3D model of a device with moving parts, or a layered view that separates high-level function, technical detail, and legal claim coverage. In court or in licensing negotiations, that can be the difference between "I think I get it" and "Yes, I clearly understand what this does, why it's different, and where it's protected." Cognito gives legal teams a way to show, not just tell, what's at stake. Cognito has 2 main workflows. For strategy, upload deck, PPT, PDF. You drag in your board deck, operating plan, or investment memo. AI extracts key levers. Cognito identifies market size and growth assumptions, pricing tiers and margin drivers, R&D phases and launch dates, cost structures and investment levels. Build interactive model. It builds a causal map. What drives what and by how much? You get Sliders for growth, pricing, timing, spend, scenario toggles, bear, base, bull, visual outputs, revenue, margin, share, payback. For patents, upload filing, text, claims, diagrams. Map component relationships. Identify core components, subsystems, and flows. Animate how the invention works. Generate animations and interactive models that track directly back to the claims. In both cases, the output is something you can use in the room, live, not just as a static appendix. Cognito is built for people whose decisions move real money and real outcomes. Consulting firms. Turn big client decks into simulations. Let clients feel the strategy, not just nod at it. Run what-if workshops live, instead of sending yet another PDF. When a partner presents a recommendation, they can say, "Let's see what happens if we launch 3 months late," and show the impact in seconds. Corporate strategy and finance teams. Stress test product launches, pricing moves, M&A cases. Align executives around a shared visual model, not competing spreadsheets. Keep a live model of record instead of version chaos across departments. No more my spreadsheet versus yours. Just one simulation, many scenarios. Legal teams and IP counsel. Use patent visualizations in litigation and licensing. Help judges, juries, and negotiation partners see what the invention actually does. Train business and sales teams on what the IP truly covers and where the white space is. Venture capital and investment committees. Test best case, worst case, and realistic scenarios for startup plans and market entries. See how sensitive an investment thesis is to 1 or 2 critical assumptions. Make decisions with eyes open, not just on top-line pitch decks. Cognito doesn't replace judgment, it clarifies it. Strategy and IP are too expensive to understand only in hindsight. 50-page decks and dense patent filings can look impressive, but they are terrible environments for actual thinking. You deserve to see how fragile or robust your plan really is, to explore best case and worst case scenarios before you commit, to understand your patents well enough to defend and monetize them with confidence. Static slides can't do that. Interactive simulations can. Cognito takes the strategies you're already writing, the patents you're already filing, and turns them into living models you can interrogate. So the next time you stand in front of a board, a jury, or an investment committee, you're not saying, "Trust us, we've done the analysis." You're saying, "Here's the world we believe we're walking into. Here's how this strategy behaves there. Here's how this invention works in practice. And here are the levers we can pull to adapt in real time." That's the difference between presenting a plan and truly understanding your bet. Cognito. See your strategy before you execute it.